So after this episode, we're going to take 1 week off for the holidays, and then we will see you back for our next episode, which will be, I guess, Monday right around New Year's time. So we wish you guys a happy and healthy holiday break, and we will see you on the return. Love you guys. This week on Hey the Parents, we're talking about dogs. What's that? You want more responsibility, you say? Don't worry, we're discussing who gets to walk the pup in the winter, those vet bills, adoption, breeders, training, and getting your first dog. Why do I love my pet Roomba? We'll talk about that too. And of course, we talk about our dogs when we were younger, mishaps with their own kids, and what the supposed experts say. Because it's the three of us and all of you. I'm Michael Height.
I'm Sara D.
And I'm Mike Levine.
Kids don't come with a handbook, so we need your help.
Where do babies come from?
Where do you think they come from?
Is this a kissing book?
Mama! Mama!
What?
Hi.
I learned it by watching you.
There are no rules in this house. I'm not like a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
We sent them to the best boarding schools. We hired the best nannies. We did everything right.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf!
No drinking, no drugs, no kissing, no tattoos, no piercings, no ritual animal slaughters of any kind.
Together, we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
This is Hey Other Parents, an honest, messy, imperfect show for raising kids.
Hey, welcome back. It's us again.
What's going on?
Hello. Hey, Mike Levine. Hey, Sara D. How we doing?
What's up?
Man, we are back. I can't believe that we are so close to that winter lovely vacation where the kiddos look at us and they say, hey, what are we doing today? What are we doing right now? I'm hungry. I just had snack. I want snack again. Can we have lunch early and then another lunch? It's about that magical time of the year.
Oh, yes.
But you know what?
I think
it seems like we just got to get our heads wrapped around that whole thing because it seems like no matter what is kind of on its way, it's inevitable. But you know what? Listen, guys, while we were getting in that wintry spirit, this week, actually, it was yesterday, my wife was like, you know what? I have an idea. I want to make a mess in the house. I'm like, sounds cool. So we had a gingerbread competition with our oldest son and his friends, which actually turned to be really cute.
Oh,
so
that's
when we
cool.
were, it was really cool. So when we were younger, before kids, BK, we ended up having these holiday parties, winter parties, and it was like at a time in our lives where we're like, let's plan 12 courses of snacks. Now it's like, that doesn't work. But we were planning all these big holiday parties, and we would do like kind of like a big multi-course extravaganza followed by a thematic gingerbread competition with our friends. And I remember like years ago, my wife and I are like, man, imagine like down the road if we have kids, like, and then they're old enough to compete and have their own competition. And they were like, wow. And then that moment left us. But now it's crazy now that we are actually at this stage. So he had his friends over, and there were 11 of them. So we just divided them into teams. So it was like one uneven group. Yeah, it was crazy. So we bought I was talking to Mike. It was very funny because my wife went to the store and she got these gingerbread houses, and they were like you know how you can't really tell what they're gonna like by the picture. You can't tell how big they are. So she got them, and it was like a pickup, and then they were like. They were more like gingerbread outhouses than they were houses. So they were very, very small.
Yes,
so,
the little ones.
so we had to quickly figure something out. So I was talking to Mike, and then I'm like, going to Target. He's like, wait, why are you at Target? Why don't you go to some other place? I'm like, because I want to pay full price. So I went inside, and fortunately, they had them there. There was like a little sale, but it was still overpriced. And they had like full-size ones. But the first thing that I saw was they had like, it's so over the top. It was like a gingerbread Target store kit. Then it was a gingerbread like Target bus kit, and then it was like not an amphitheater, it was a football field. And then I'm looking, I'm like panicking. I'm like, what do I do? Do I buy like a Target store or look at a compound? And then turn around, and then behind me there were all like the the setups. But it's crazy. My wife already got like all the like little snacks, all the candies and things all set up.
Yes.
But like in these packs it came with more, so it was just completely over the top.
I feel like the gingerbreads when you buy them, they never come out the way they look like on the box, right? Like the box looks amazing. It looks epic.
Yes.
And you buy these gingerbread houses thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a competition with my family and I'm gonna rock this. This is gonna look awesome. And then it's like when you actually get down to it, just seems so hard.
Yeah, like on the fine print, it's almost like cereal boxes, right? Like when you see the cereal in the morning in the commercials, and it says like, you know, like when they're served with like fresh fruit and like pancakes and orange juice in the background, it looks like, you know, it's like for your, you know, recommendation on the sides, whatever it says. You know, if you see the French Alps behind your gingerbread house on the cover, you're probably in trouble.
I want to know who out there has the perfect gingerbread house that looks just like the box. I want to know.
Well,
it's not me.
I always buy extra candy for the gingerbread houses because they only they give you like 3 peppermints, like two jelly beans. You can't do anything with that.
You can't do all those lights on that house. It can't look like Christmas Vacation on that gingerbread house, you know?
Oh man, you hope.
How are you gonna get the roof looking the way, like, you know, like all like I use the snow caps there, you know, so they can like lay out and stuff like that.
I want to sit back and watch Sara like do her thing. This is impressive. You and my wife are very smart because I am not. But my wife thought maybe the same way as you did, and she got like extra candy, and she even got like those like throwaway muffin tins, and then she put like you know, sprinkles, and then you know.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Yeah, she tried to get them all set up so each might have their little station. You know?
That's amazing. So, that's really good. That's really good.
So we pop up in the directions, and she's like, "Should we make them?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." I'm like, "It says here that like." It'll take like 15 minutes for like the walls to dry. Then you put that tops on. It's like a minute or two. So we were like thinking back to when we had like these competitions with our friends, and we were laughing, thinking about like how. I mean, granted, you know, we had wine and stuff like that beforehand, so it's a little different. But this was like kids, so we were laughing, thinking about like how much of a disaster sometimes it was with getting like, you know, the houses assembled. So we're like, you know what, we can't take that experience away from them. Right, Mike Levine? It's part of the package, so part of the experience. So we decided to let them do that, and we're like showing them directions. We give them teams, say it's random, which it was, and then we plop them down, and it's sort of mayhem. They're kind of reading, they're not reading. You know, it's very funny. Like all of a sudden, I look over my son, and you know, he's like, I got this. Only directions. So he's putting together, and all of a sudden, I see him putting the roof on. I'm like, that was a very fast 15 minutes that went by. He's like, what? I'm like, you waited about 1 minute. You had 14 more minutes waiting. So he's like, don't worry, I'll just hold it. So whatever, it's fine. So anyway, so they're putting it together, doing their thing. Everything's nice. And then we came up with the idea of doing like a little game. So the kids love Gimkit and Blookit and Kahoot at school. So we made like a fun like Kahoot for them to play. We try to put like all of there's a little clue for the parents. We try to put, those things are free, by the way, for just like small games. We put like their names in the questions. They had a lot of fun. We made all the questions about like, you know, the holidays, and threw in a couple random Frozen questions and stuff like that.
Wow, that sounds like an awesome time, man.
It was cool. They had a great time. And then they you know, they sat down and I said, by the way, it's about that magical time for you to find out what your theme is. So we told them that they could do anything that has to do with a movie or a TV show. We thought it pretty wide open, right? Yeah. Now I was gunning for like, you know, I was hoping for Star Wars or Stranger Things. One group actually started to try to convince their friends about Stranger Things, and they're like, I haven't seen that. I'm like, oh man. So so these are the groups, ready? So group one. Very smart the way they did this was Taylor Swift Eras Tour, because that was a movie technically, so they went that way. Another right, so then they did like 1989 on the sides of M&Ms. Another group my son was in did The Grinch, and then the third group, their house actually started falling apart when they were putting it together, so they decided upon the Titanic, which was very funny. So they
brilliant. That's hysterical. Right? I love it.
My wife and I were laughing because it happened one year with our friends, and they decided we did like a movie theme, like, you know, 15 years ago, and they decided on doing it as the Wizard of Oz, like, you know, like everything crashed down because the house fell apart. So it was ridiculous, you know what I mean? So candy's going everywhere, kids are having fun, they're like dancing, being ridiculous, and we even did like a drawful to, like, you know, break up the time, got some pizza. And the thing with drawful, just real quick side note, drawful is great. It's a Jackbox game. We're gonna do an episode at some point about like fun, like friendly family group get-together games at some point. But Drawful, it's a Jackbox game. You could play it on like Apple TV. You could get it on Android. You could get it on probably Kindle Fire, I'm assuming. Xbox, PS5, whatever. It's very simple. It's like almost what's that game where you draw, guess, and what is wrong with me? What's it called? Guess. What's that drawing game where you draw something, people guess what it is?
Draw something, guess what it is.
No, like just a regular
Pictionary.
No, the drawing Pictionary. Thank you,
Pictionary.
Wow, I know that my explanation was so good.
Like actually physically draw. I'm sorry, I thought you were like drawing a card or something. I don't know.
Like draw. I see what you're saying. Like draw from a deck. No, yeah, Pictionary. Thank you. Where would I be without you guys? Because apparently I lack the vocabulary word bank to get through life, and then you guys are here to get that all worked out.
We got
so
you.
Stuff's going everywhere. Got that done. Had the pizza. Food's everywhere. And I remember distinctly saying, guys, we don't have a dog, so try to keep the stuff on the table. Which brings us to this episode today, is having a dog. And now, listeners, as you may or may not know, as I've complained about, I would never complain. I've been talking about my home life and a situation with our pets, sourdough starter, and a Roomba. And that is as far as we take it in the Height household. But my two amazing co-hosts here, they do not swear or go by the same philosophy as us. They have hearts. They care. They like animals. They don't find satisfaction with electronic companionship or a cultural society of sourdough starter that waits for me in the refrigerator every week. But they're awesome. They've got doggos, and just me saying doggos, I feel uncomfortable saying it. I don't think I should be saying it. It's like cultural appropriation. I shouldn't be the one saying doggos. I don't even have a dog. So we're here, and we are going to be talking specifically about dogs today. We're going to be talking about kind of the what's it like maybe to get your dog for the first time. Especially, sometimes for the holidays, some parents decide that they're going to go wild and crazy and throw a bow on a dog. Hopefully they get that dog somewhere. What are they going to do with it for 2 days? I have no idea. See, this is out of my realm. I don't know. So they get the dog, maybe give it to the kiddos, and it's exciting. Because back when I was younger, I only had birds. So we had birds, and they were flying around the house and scaring my parents' friends and our friends and making a mess. And my dad was changing their cages with their newspaper, and it was disgusting, and they had fish. And that, besides plants, is about as far as we took it. Except for when I had a gerbil for 2 days, and then my parents were like, we're not chasing that thing behind your dresser for the rest of our lives. So that's going back. So we are now moving forward to the dogs. So, my friends, here we are, and I am curious about your first experience, like when you were younger. Did you have dogs? Did you get dogs later?
Ownership is fun, man. I mean, it's like having another child.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you're telling me that, because my suspicions have been clarified, and I'm very happy with my current state of affairs.
Yeah, we had tons of pets growing up when I was younger. Like, we had cats, dogs. We had a menagerie of animals. We had a wild duck at one point. We had tons of animals. So over here, I love the pets. What about you, Levine?
Yeah, when I was younger, too, I had a bunch of animals, birds, hamsters, dogs, lizards, I don't know. And it's funny because my mom didn't even like animals, but she allowed us to have all these pets, so it was kind of cool, When I was having a dog, though, the first dog that I had, he was really cool. His name was Champ, and my dad got to, the whole naming process is always fun. Like when you first get your dog, you're like, oh my God, what's the name going to be? You're going over with your brother, and I don't know, and your brothers or your sisters or your siblings or whatever. And I don't know why we settled on Champ, but it was really cool. And I think that's part of the process of like getting a dog, is that going through that fun, like, the names, right? And then there's like Godzilla Jr. or
I can't imagine that Godzilla would ever come. Now, do they make like dog naming books like they do for children, like where you're like, 55,000 of the most popular names for children this year?
No, they definitely did not. But I mean, like, yeah, I think the naming part was really fun. Like, So don't shop, you must adopt, because my dad shopped, but this is also like the early 90s. And we got two dogs who were very sick, unfortunately. But we named them Maxwell and Maxwell too, because, we really like Maxwell. Maxwell kind of stuck. So we're like, maybe this Maxwell wouldn't be sickly. And then we had Tina, and Tina was a good little doggy as well. But I got my first dog, like my dog, not a family dog, when I was 17. That was all I wanted. I bugged my dad, and because my mom too. So Levine's mom and my mom must have hung out with each other because they both hated animals. But she still allowed us. I know that Carmen, and she still allowed us to have all these pets. So with Tiffany, I begged and begged and begged and begged to get her, or just a dog, any dog. I just wanted a dog, and my dad took just me and my brother, and we went to the North Shore Animal League. We picked out a puppy, and they're like, "Where's your mom?" And they're like, "Oh, she's not feeling good. She knows you're getting a puppy." Yep, she sure does.
Yeah.
No, she didn't. No
way.
She did not.
For real?
Yeah.
Right. So when I brought home Tiffany, and she was so cute, and I already picked out her name because she was just so pretty. She was a beautiful black and white dog, Labrador Terrier mix. And my mom was like, "I'm so upset with all of you. I can't believe it." And then an hour later, she's like, "Let me see the puppy." And then she was holding Tiffany like a little baby, almost like belly up. And then she was like, "Oh, she's pretty." And she's like, "We keep her." And I was like, "Yes."
You're like, "Mom, what was the alternative?" Like,
I know. I was like, "You're not giving this dog back up," But
yeah, when I was younger too, when we got Champ, like I believe he was a rescue dog, and we had to eventually later give him away. But I remember getting my first actual, like, my dog between me and my wife, and we went to a dog pet shop to buy it. I know you're supposed to adopt, but we were looking for a specific dog, which was an English bulldog, and they just weren't. Nobody gives them up for adoption. So we went to this pet shop, and they put us in like this little circle playpen, and they released, like, I want to say 20 English bulldogs. And
oh, wow.
My wife and I are just sitting there. We're like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" Because all these little puppies rushing at us, and then you're playing with them. They have that puppy smell, and their beautiful little puppy paws that are just like untouched by, like, walking and stuff. And it was the cutest little thing. And then of course Shelby, our then dog that didn't have a name yet, comes up to Taylor, and the way she was licking Taylor and the way Taylor held her, I knew this was it. We were done for, and we wound up picking out that little puppy, and who we later named Shelby. She was amazing. It was cool.
I think that's like the magical moment, is like when you go shop for a pet, and like whether it's a little gerbil or a fish or a puppy, and you're like, "Yep, that's mine. That's it." And I kind of get that same feeling with the North Shore Animal League. They're all kept like in little crates and stuff like that. But I looked at each dog, and then there was Tiffany. She was like awake. She was alive. She was like, I mean, like alive, because you know what I mean by that is that because all the other puppies were like sleeping. It was like nap time, I guess, for them.
Yeah.
So like they were like meh. They looked at me like whatever. And Tiffany was like so excited to see me, and I was like, "That's it. That is her.
That's the one.
That's the one I want."
Another reason why it's better to, I guess, adopt. I don't know if it could happen with adoptions too, but sometimes when you buy puppies, like, they get kennel cough, and like I wound up getting when we brought Shelby home that day, like she just was very lethargic. She was looking weird, and she wound up getting like kennel cough or some type of sickness. And we actually brought her back the next day to the pet shop, and we're like, "What's going on here? We just bought this dog and it's like dying. Help us out!" And they luckily they took it into the hospital. They gave it the medication, and they had her for like 2 or 3 days. It was like an emergency thing. It was like very crazy.
Aww, poor thing.
Yeah, but she was a tough cookie, that little English bulldog.
Aww.
That's awesome. Wait, so I mean, that's awesome that you're telling listeners about this. That's not awesome that your dog had a cough. Is that so? That's pretty common. Is that a thing that?
Yeah,
because it has a name.
That is a thing. Yeah, kennel cough is common, particularly with like dogs. Like, no offense, Levine, in like shops, and also to they can get it with like where you board a dog, or sometimes get like a cold. But you do have to take care of it. So, and then another thing they can get, which is when we talk later about the present day pets, is that they can also, even with a breeder, they can have parasites and stuff like that. You have to kind of deworm them and stuff. There's a lot when you are adopting a puppy that you have to invest in and think about, because there's some medical costs, like off the rip, also to vaccines and stuff like that. So, you gotta
is
be,
that something that's usually kind of like, I guess we can get into that later, but you both mentioned like a couple things that was kind of interesting. One was like walking through and finding one that's kind of like lively and kind of like is tapped, like, is ready to jump into your arms. That was something you were looking for, I guess. You kind of know like that maybe the personality of the dog, you were looking for that in some way.
Yes.
And then Mike too. I almost picture Mike. I almost picture like celebrities, the celebrity puppy interviews where like they're trying to interview them, and, like the animals are jumping all over them. But that's wild. So you guys kind of have like a system in place. Is that pretty common? You find like when you're looking for a pet, like you kind of have to walk around and check the personalities out a little bit.
Yeah, it's like what Sara said when Taylor and I were in the pet store and they released like 20 puppies. I guess that's why they
released the hound.
They literally did.
They just released these puppies. Ooh. And then they all pretty much come up to you. But there's one or two, that'll just connect with you. They'll start licking you. They'll just rubbing on you. They just want to be all part of you, and
yeah, there's something.
You just
there's
find
something
that
there.
connection. Yeah,
and I think it's different for everyone. Like like some people might want the hyper dog, or you might see like if you're a more experienced pet owner, like the one that's like biting or nipping or too quiet and like kind of skittish, you may not want that puppy, because
right.
And depending on your family, like if the skittish one is good for you and you're a singleton living by yourself, that might be good for you. But if you have like lots of company, the skittish one may not be a good dog because eventually they might be too skittish around guests and children, and they could become a biting dog. So you really have to be kind of like, just think about your lifestyle and like their personality and see what's kind of fitting for you.
Yeah. Did you both so Mike, you mentioned that Shelby was a puppy, right? Was Tiffany also a puppy, Sarah?
Yep, she was 4 months old when I got her, so she was a baby.
Yeah, and speaking to like puppies, so our next dog was a French bulldog, and Ruby, we got her from a breeder. So, and again, I know we wanted a specific type of dog. We wanted to adopt.
We got a breeder too. Listen, I got an adopted dog and a breeder dog. Don't worry, I'm not sitting on any high horses.
Mike's
here.
like 5 seconds away from being like, it's not my fault, okay?
The next dog, I'm telling you, it's going to be adopted. But
okay.
We went to a breeder, and I liked going through a breeder because, they were with the dog the whole time. They gave you at least my breeder gave me up to date information on the dog, and we actually still use the same veterinarian that he used when the dog was born. So, and he had a whole history of the mother and the father. So there's a lot of like medical history there to take care of them. And I guess that's what's good, about going through a breeder. They just know the dog at all times. Whereas,
This way you could blame them and be like, you got it from your mother's side.
Yes, yep.
I've seen you. I know you are.
Exactly.
Basically, I mean, so with Hazel kind of jumping around a little bit. Hazel, who is our current puppy, she's now 4 years old. She's a big girl. We got her through a breeder from the Amish, and she's breaking Amish. So she's on her Rumspringer. We're like, which one wants to come out? Who wants to try the world? But we looked online, and checked out the puppies like online, and you have to kind of give them like, hey, we like puppy. Like they give them like these little names like Dot. We like Dot, and they say okay, but we were like, because it was like half and half in the house. Jean, Sophia, liked this one little dog. I forget her name. I think Dory. Quote unquote, and I really liked Dot. Julian was siding with whatever I said, and so Nisha liked Dot as well. And they're like, but why? I'm like, I don't know. It's just something about her face. I could tell that she's like intelligent.
Connection.
Yeah, like I just even through a picture, I was like, she's intelligent, and I feel like Dory looks kind of small, and she looks a little skittish. Like I don't know, like there's something there. So but everyone wanted Dory, so or the two stubborn ones wanted Dory, so we went there. They like unleashed the hounds too. All the little puppies came chasing out, but Dot, aka Hazel, she was the one that she came up to us first, and then she started playing with all her like brothers and sisters. She was like tossing them around, but she was very sweet. And Sophia was like, "Is that Dot?" And I was like, "That's Dot. That's the one Mommy picked out." And so she's like, "Oh, I like her." And I was like, "I know." And then poor little Dory, she was very tiny. She might have been the runt, and she seemed very scared of us. And we have a lot of family, a lot of friends that come over. And I was like, that may not be the best dog for us, because if she's skittish now, let alone with like the amount of people that we have at the house in and out sometimes, I'm like, I don't want something to happen to someone. So everyone drifted over to Dot, aka Hazel, and that's how we got Hazel Basil. So she's breaking Amish.
Yeah, you really got to look
done.
for that personality, Sarah. It's so true, because when they're playing with you or whatever, they could, depending on how your family interacts with them, it's all about that little personality that comes out and shines, and it makes that connection for you. Because if they're like, they're lazy or droopy, then maybe they don't want to play as much, or they don't want to bother with you, and then I know Ruby still has the same personality as she was when she was a puppy. She's just always running and licking and just like doesn't chill.
I think we're gonna treat this episode like dog years. We're jumping right into the sort of present time because I think there's so much information that I'm just learning from you guys and so much to divulge. And even thinking about like when our kids were younger, it's not really about the kids so much. This episode's about the dogs because I think we were talking about our dogs when they were younger, right? Our dogs. I like how I'm jumping in as this. I'm taking ownership over your Mennonite and Amish dogs right now. So no, this is interesting. So let's circle back for a second. So when your kids were super duper young, did you have the dogs when did you have a dog in the house when your kids were like babies? Like, because I'm so curious because we went to friends' houses and I saw them having when they were, they had infants in the house and really young kids when, and then I thought in the back of my head, like, if I had a dog and Jacob at the time and that dog barked and woke Jacob up from a nap, I think I might have come completely unglued. So how does that whole thing work? I mean, I know this. Yeah, I want to hear from you guys.
Yeah, so I had Tiffany. She was 14 when she passed away, and Sophia was about 4, and Julian was about 2. No, it doesn't work out. 6, and then he had to be at least 2. And
it's a true test to see if you know your kid's ages and how far.
I know. Seriously, I was like, wait, that's not.
I completely botched that up a couple episodes ago, by the way.
Maybe in dog years it works out. I don't know. So
there you go.
So they definitely Tiffany. So as a young doggy owner, 17, I had a lot of time to invest in Tiffany. I made sure I every job I worked, I made sure I put aside money for her, for medical bills, to make sure her upkeep and her lifestyle that she was accustomed to. So
it's funny you say that because I think of all my other friends that sidebar here, just like I have a lot of other friends that are pet owners that just feed them steaks and chicken and like all these lavish things, buy them clothes,
Tiffany,
and it's great.
Tiffany, she had a little jacket, but she also a couple of times was almost sent back to the pound so my mom would get so frustrated with her because she was trained, but she wasn't trained probably the best way because I was only 17. Even though I looked at the library and stuff like that, for like advice, but I didn't really know what I was doing. So she was good. She wasn't bad, but she wasn't the best. And so there were a couple times I'd like take her in the car and be like, all right, Tiff, let's go get a number 2 McDonald's meal, 1 burger for me, 1 burger for you.
Double burger meal.
Yeah.
And then I would drive around for a little bit and then I'll come back and be like, oh, Mom, I'm like, the animal shelter was closed today. I was like, we just missed it. I was like, I'll bring her tomorrow. My mom's like, yeah, okay, whatever, But anyhow, so we had Tiffany, and so she would bark when the doorbell rang, and as she was getting older, she was like a little senile, you had to deal with the elderly dogs. Sometimes she would bark at nothing because she just felt like it.
The later years.
Yes, the later years, the elderly years. But she would wake up the kids sometimes when they were sleeping, and I would want to strangle her, me, oh gosh. And then and we never really keep the house quiet when they were little. But just that loud bark, that jolting up, it would startle the kids sometimes. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, because there's just such a part of you, and I'm so attached to her. I was just like, okay, it's just another unruly child in the house that
the kids kind of get used to them pretty quickly.
Yeah, they get used to it, and then you kind of you're just desensitized by it, so you're kind of just okay, just the other child acting up.
It all depends too on the dog. Maybe you just don't have a dog that's barks a lot, or it honestly depends on the dog. Shelby, we had Shelby when Lucas and Elliot were born. And Shelby, I'm sorry, Lucas, Ruby, Shelby. Who am I talking about?
I gotta get all these names right.
I know.
That's before Hayden too.
Yeah,
that's a bit of 3 for a mix.
Yeah. So Shelby, she was very protective of Lucas and Elliot when they were younger, and it was really actually kind of cool. She would sit by them, lay by them, kind of come to Taylor when she'd hear them cry as babies,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It was really, really cool. And I think that's what's great about owning even a pet in the younger years. Yeah, it could be a little bit more work, but they develop a bond and a connection with the children that you wind up having, and they could grow with them. So as much as it can be a pain sometimes with like the barking and stuff, you know, it all depends on the dog, and it could also be some great positives to it, you know.
Is it pretty common? Like, do you find that when you pick the dogs out, like, does the personality pretty consistent with, like when you pick the dogs out from the pound or from the, you know, from the pet store?
Yeah.
Man, you. I'm kidding. Does the personality is it pretty consistent from the time they were super young? Like, do you still see that same?
Oh yeah.
Kind of like personality from the moment that you met them, like the energy or the silliness or like whatever.
I think so. I mean, like, okay, so Coco is a rescue. We adopted him like 5 years ago.
Oh, the little puppy.
Oh yes, he's the young lad that he is. So I walked in, and my sister-in-law was living with us at the time, and we got this puppy because we just needed something fresh in the house, and she wanted to get a puppy, and so she picked out this beautiful dog, Coco, and she was like, okay, guys, you know, like Sophia and Julian come, Sarah come, and Jean was just like, whatever you guys decide, I don't care. And I walk in, and I was like, oh my gosh, hi, Coco. Coco like turned his belly up. He showed like me his belly, which means like he's like submissive. And the volunteer that was with us, she was like, oh my God, he's been shaking for the past couple of days here, and he will not do that with us. Like, he looks so relaxed with you guys. So I was sold.
Oh wow.
Yes. And I was like looking at his teeth. I guess apparently I'm not a veterinarian, because I looked at his teeth and I was like, it looks like most of them are in there. I was like, and Julian liked him. Julian like had, I would think, like some sensory issues when he was younger. He didn't really like small fuzzy things. Like there was like
that probably helped out.
Yeah,
right?
there was like a wind-up toy that he was like petrified that I got him one time.
No kidding.
Cats, dogs, like very small ones, he was very scared of. I guess maybe he was used to Tiffany, who was big. She was like not huge, but she was like a 55-pound gal. And so I think for him, he didn't like coincide, you know, like, I mean, the connection of like a big dog, a little dog. So he was kind of scared about dogs. And with Coco, he like loved him right away. So we're like, how old is he? 3, 4. We're like, I was like, all right, older than what I wanted, but that's good. We're getting out of the puppy stage. Like, you know, he's not going to bite and pee and poop everywhere. Like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law picks him up from, he had to get neutered. He had to get neutered, and she's like, the vet said like 4 or 5. I was like, oh. I was like, well, that's older.
How long was he in there?
He was in there for like maybe like 2 weeks or whatever.
No, that doesn't sound like another year or two.
No. So, you know, okay, 4 or 5. I'm like, okay, cool. So I bring him to my vet. And the vet, you know, I gave all the paperwork that they gave me, x-rays, things like that. They were very good, the shelter that we adopted him from. She was so impressed. And then she's like, how old is he? And I was like, 4 or 5. And she's like, So she slapped the x-ray like on the wall, you know, like on the, like behind the glowy thing. And she's like, I would say more like 7, 8. She's like, and I'll tell you why. And then she started pointing out all of his medical issues. The trachea, the trick knees, the arthritis in the tail, the multiple missing teeth that he had. I was like,
No.
And at that point, Coco, like, I could, like, it was like a week in, and I could take him off the leash. He knew exactly how to get home. Like, he was ours. So I was like, well, I guess I'm stuck with you, buddy.
Wow. So now, like, every time you go to a vet now, or you just walk to a shelter, like the dog plops in his back and he's like, he doesn't do that for anyone.
Yeah, right. Seriously. I was like, all right. But, you know, and that's why we got Hazel, because Jean was so nervous with all his health. Oh, he has a heart murmur too, which is a big deal. So Jean was nervous. He was like, oh my God. He's like, this dog could like pass away at any moment. He's like, we need a puppy just in case. And so that's why we got Hazel, the transitional puppy, as we called her.
The old backup plan.
Yes, but Coco's still with us 5 years later. Whether he's 12 or 13, I don't know how old he is at this point, but...
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say was, speaking about personalities, it's like when they go, they're just like children. Like, I can't say that more because, like, when they go to the doctor, I have both my dogs that I've had have freaked out when they go to the doctor. They start shaking. They know when they go in the car that they're going. And then once they see the vet, they know, like, oh my God, that's the vet. And it's not like the vet's ever done anything to them like bad. It's just they don't like going to the vet. And it's funny when I bring like Ruby in, she's all curled up in my arm. She's like clawing up to like get on top of me because she wants to. She's scared of the doctor, just like a kid would be scared of the dentist or the doctor or whatever, and then even with playing, the dogs will. I'll be sitting on the couch and all of a sudden Ruby will jump up on me and she'll like start trying to like lick my ear or nibble my ear or like just to get me to like mess with her and play with her. Or, it's just their personalities are, they're very similar to humans. They just they have like these bright, uplifting personalities and they get you to move and, or they can be very sad and like scared, so it's really interesting.
That's wild. Sometimes I accidentally knock into the Roomba and it starts to like leave the charging port sometimes on its own. And then we're like, oh, no, Roomba, you have to go home now.
You like heel, sit, stay.
Heel, Roomba.
Heel.
You were something ridiculous. So my kids were super duper into Avatar: The Last Airbender at the time when we got it. And they were like, we need a good name. And Ethan's like, Avatar Airbender all the way. He's like, I got it. We're going to call it Dirt Bender. And that was the name of it. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Well, that's going to be big again when that show comes out.
Oh, I love it.
The live action show in a couple weeks.
Oh, I can't wait for
But
that.
yeah, no, this sounds amazing. Sounds like you gave some really, really solid advice. A couple quick things that I want to ask you guys about, if this is a helpful or not helpful thing. Dog insurance, yes or no? Is that something that people like feel pressured to get? Is it useful? Is it not useful? If you don't know, I don't know if it's even...
No, that's a great question. I mean, like, I have battled with dog insurance back and forth. Like,
wait, is that a back scratcher? Hold on a second.
I'm sorry.
Wait. Hold on a second. I know this isn't the episode about holiday gifts.
I was trying not to laugh.
Mike Levine is legitimately holding one of those like back scratchers that your kid gets at like one of those holiday fairs. Like it could have been a shoehorn. It could have been a mood ring.
Oh, it's just dad. I love it.
It says hands down the best dad ever. This was my little Ellie Belly gave me this for I don't know, Father's Day, I think it was, or something.
Oh my God,
amazing.
Let
me get my shoehorn. Hold on.
She got it from school. She got it from school, and I had a back itch, so it was like perfect.
No, that wasn't the insurance policy I was referring to. I was referring to the dog insurance policy.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
We don't let anything go. We are on it. We are on each other. Like one person slips up, we are there to help each other out.
No, but as far as pet insurance goes, I've had pet insurance for a dog, and I've not had pet insurance for a dog, and I just don't know what the right answer is. I guess whatever best for your family budget and stuff. The pet insurance that I had, every time I brought the dog to the vet, I was like, oh, is this covered under the insurance? Oh, well, you still have to pay this. I'm like, so why am I paying for pet insurance? Like, I get there's like co-pays and stuff, but I still felt like I was paying for more things than, or like the thing. I still felt like I was paying like if I didn't have pet insurance, I should say. And I've gone without it ever since, to be honest.
Sort of no bueno.
So so if you're gonna get pet insurance, definitely as with regular insurance, it's for the animal that is younger, not for your semi young dog that's now 7, 8, 20 years old
who has
existing conditions of
and existing conditions. So we
14-year-old puppies.
We don't have insurance for Hazel, but because I did look into it, but we go through PetSmart, their Banfield's hospital, and they have like a program where and now Petco actually has one too, where you roll into a program, you pay monthly something, so it's kind of like insurance but not. So like her getting spayed was free, any vaccinations is free. Now the flea medication I think is discounted, and like if she came in with a kennel cough, let's say, I would have to pay for that. But overall, like her yearly checkups are free. So
What's
like
your typical stuff, like your shots, your doctor stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was for me. I felt like a happy medium that worked for me because like sometimes to go to the private vet with Tiffany, like I actually took out a whole credit card when I was younger. When I was like first able to get a credit card, I took it out really for her because I went to one time to emergency vet and for like a little cut in her paw, and that cost us an arm and a leg. My mom helped me with that, but it was expensive, so I was like, I'm never gonna do that again. Be caught out like with an $800 bill for like a little cut. So, so I was like, let me get a credit card for her just in case if she ever needs it. So in the back of my mind, I have a credit card that's always kind of like, and it's a care credit or something like that too that you can get. But I do in the back of my mind have like a credit card that's like kind of like for the dogs, like just in case there's an emergency. But overall, like I think like that for me it has been working because we go to the vet, like they'll do like the claw clipping that's like no, actually that's charged more a little bit. It's really. You see what I mean? I'm trying to think. No, seriously, I'm trying to think.
Out, right?
Oh, the dental stuff. The dental stuff is included with them, and they have like different packages, quote unquote, that you get. So like Coco's on the highest package because he's old, and Hazel started off in the puppy package, and then now she's moved up to like I guess the teenage package. Like that includes certain things.
So yeah, I guess it also, in this situation too, it depends on the dog. Like if you go outside with your dog a lot, go to dog parks, kind of run around, maybe it's best to have the insurance and for like the extra care. But like Ruby, all my dogs have been like in-house dogs, like don't leave the house. You know what I mean? So they really don't like get sick that often or need much of anything other than if they eat like something they're not supposed to eat from like the kids or something like that. But I think that's why I kind of like dropped the insurance thing because, like Sarah said, you go for like these yearly checkups and instead of like paying monthly, like I guess like you could pay once at a shot and once right out of the bag for everything and then just kind of be done with it. It's all personal preference to be really
What about
honest.
like the food stuff? Like is it dry? Is it wet? Is it make your own? We already discussed not making your own. They're not eating risotto and like aged steak, but you just kind of stick to certain brands. Is there like just in general, you just kind of stick to certain things?
So my vet always recommended Science Diet and Iams because they are trusted, they are tested, they are scientifically proven, those brands. And dry because of the teeth. Because if you give too much wet food, it can cause more cavities, so you have more issues. Like Tiffany never had any teeth pulled, never had to go under anesthesia for a deep cleaning because her teeth were pristine. Because I was also 17, I had nothing else better to do but then brush my dog's teeth every day like me. But like hobby. Yes, I mean I had nothing else to do. I was just kind of like, let me take care of my baby dog. And then my Coco and Hazel, like I keep with that. I don't give them any wet food. I give them some table scraps and stuff like that. But what I do find real, and once Coco, I think he has like maybe 19th left. Once they go, they're gone. I'm sure I have to move over to wet food because that's gonna be easier for him. But I've been watching a lot on Instagram lately. I don't know, Levine, if you see this.
Is this the raw diet?
The raw diet, like, well, the diets.
Yeah, my sister does that with her dog.
They give like guinea pigs or rabbit. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Really?
But they're dried out and stuff. And then like they like blend food and things like that. That'll probably happen in my next lifetime when the kids are in college and I have nothing else to do.
Oh my God.
I've been so curious about it because I am tempted to try to make my own doggy treats because I saw like an easy recipe, but I'm super curious about that because it feels good. Like I'm like, oh, it's kind of like natural what they kind of do. This is where I might get my Carmen on, where I'm like, okay, guinea pigs,
Moon radish. I'll ask my sister about it because my sister is doing the raw diet with her dog.
Yeah, no, I think it's super fascinating. Like chicken feet and stuff like that. Like, I mean, they're eating good, those dogs. I don't know, but right now my kids are eating me out of house and home to let two other dogs eat me out of house and home. I don't
Dogs
know.
Are
You know,
I don't eat processed food. I just eat totally natural.
Right.
You mentioned it before, Sarah, and this is like a big debate, I guess, in the pet ownership world or dog world is table scraps, and it's like.
Yes.
do you feed your dog from the table or not? Because, if you start feeding your dog from the table scraps and things, then they're going to come to you expecting food. And if you don't, then, and sometimes when they come to you, they start whining or they start like pawing at your leg because they want food and they know you guys are eating. And then if you you don't and you train them not to, like you could sit there, have a full course meal and the dog will lay down and just, watch and wait, if something falls.
Oh, yeah.
I
wish.
So,
Yeah.
I know.
It sounds like once you go down that road, it seems like it's kind of hard to go back.
Exactly. And that's kind of what's happened with our dogs is we've always kind of fed them from the table. Now, sometimes Ruby sits in the how many chairs? We have 2, 4, 5. Yeah. 5 chairs at our table. So she'll jump up and just sit in the chair and like, okay, serve me.
I love it.
I got to take a picture of it and send it to you guys.
That's adorable. Please.
She is like, the 6th family member at the table,
Aww.
sitting there waiting for her plate. But we don't give her a plate. We'll throw her scraps and stuff sometimes, Yeah. And she looks at you and it's like the saddest thing. So we'll throw her some scraps and stuff. So I don't know.
It'd be funny if she tries to like add to conversation. You're like, oh, Shelby, how was your Ruby, how was your day?
Yeah, exactly.
That I have to say, like Tiffany, Hazel, and Coco, they all have begged, but they don't like incessantly beg. They're somewhere in between. Like, I'm gonna sit here and wait and hope, or I'm gonna sit here and like just be quiet. But Coco is notorious. He is a Roomba. He is notorious when I'm cooking. He's there. He's cleaning up everything. Anything that falls, like whether it's Mike just put on some crazy filter, like looking like the Jennifer Lopez video, like waiting for tonight.
I totally forgot about this, guys. This is totally random. In the new Apple operating system, I totally forgot that if you put like 2 thumbs up, or if you give like 2 rock star signs, you'll get like a laser light show in your video camera.
Man,
this is just good information. Know that I forgot about. All of a sudden, you look over and it's like a bad '80s rock concert over here.
No, like Mikey from the block over there, looking awesome. So when Tiffany passed away and the kids were so young, I didn't realize how much she cleaned up after them. All suddenly, like the floor was dirty, and there was like so many scraps on the floor, and it was because Tiffany was cleaning up after them.
Oh,
I never appreciated how much Tiffany worked hard for this family.
Wow. Well, you're reminding me of like having my kids do the gingerbread thing. I'm like, where's Tiffany? Can we borrow her?
You sure could have. And then Hazel and Coco, because he's a rescue. I don't know what his former life was like, but I suspect it was, dog eat dog kind of world, because he will eat anything that's on the floor, whether it's good for him or bad. And I have to chase him after most of the time. But like it was like a little chunk of sweet potato falls on the floor, flies out, after being chopped. He will grab it and he'll run with it. And I'm like, really, Coco?
He's like, I'll just chew on that for a while.
Yes, right, with his
gum it
for his 9 teeth. Meanwhile, Hazel looks at it and she's like, oh my God, so pedestrian. I wouldn't eat that at all, So
she's like a loser.
That's another great thing. It's like when having a dog and you drop stuff on the floor, they will eat, and they're like little vacuums. They will eat everything and clean up your mess.
Yes.
So
yep.
Let's. I think it's probably time to hear what those experts say, because I'd be curious to see if you guys are feeling good about all your awesome advice. And I feel listeners, I feel like they did give some really solid advice, because as somebody who, is still not swayed, but I still feel very inspired by what they had to say, because it sounded like these guys definitely know what they're doing.
One of these days.
Mike, what do we got for the advice from the article from this week?
Yeah, so we kind of saw this article that says how kids benefit from pet ownership. And it talks about like how they can relieve stress for kids, teaches them some like unconditional love and acceptance. It also helps build empathy and kindness, alleviates loneliness, strengthens literacy in children. I'm not too sure about that one, but okay, we'll go with it. We'll roll with it.
And that's if you're reading to your dogs. Yeah. So We'll have another episode on reading with our kids,
Yeah,
but
I get
for
that.
now, we're not going to base our entire reading situation on reading with their pets.
I would
do
say
like the idea, though.
I would say like going to like the library or Googling, like researching, because that's what I used to do when I was younger. So that's where the literacy part for me comes.
Oh, that's
in.
better than like
know?
saying, "Okay, puppy, it's time for your
Yeah.
book tonight."
Yes.
Yeah, but it also promotes physical activity too, and I like that one because especially with dogs running around, chasing them, playing fetch, walking them, definitely gets your kids moving.
You said your dog never leaves the house.
Walking them in the perimeter of the house.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough. I withdraw.
and also, let me tell you something. Lucas, the Godzilla that he is, does Godzilla fights with Ruby. So, and those get pretty intense, with their short little arms. So it's pretty funny. So he gets kind of a workout that way.
See,
so
that's good.
One thing that I kind of like that you mentioned also is, the responsibility, the unconditional love and acceptance, because that's like a big thing. It's hard to teach kids about caring, right? You could show them through actions how to care, but like actually having the responsibility and taking care of something or someone is that's not easy to teach. So that's kind of
or being concerned for the animal. Like if your animal's scared of fireworks, like knowing like, oh, it's like 4th of July, we got to make sure that your dog is happy. Or like sometimes my kids have noticed like Hazel, she seems like maybe like a little sad, and they're like, why is Hazel sad today? I'm like, I don't know, maybe she needs more loves, like, and they'll like kind of rise to the occasion and take care of her, a little more.
Yeah, and also even just feeding the dog and giving it water, playing with it, giving it that love and attention, like you said, teaches them those responsibilities to be empathetic towards it. I really like that one too.
I think you found a good one this week. All right, so I think we're ready to jump on out of this part of the show and get ready to hear about what awesome Parenting Unplugged we have next. We'd love to hear from you if you have time. If you have questions, comments for us, a topic, an idea, a parenting story, a dog story, a fail, a dog fail that you experienced, you can contact us. Maybe even tell us about an upcoming birthday for your kiddo. You can leave us a message on our Hey Other Parents voicemail line at 559-537-5437. Or, since you never remember that, 559-537-KIDS or 559-LAY-KIDS if you're feeling fancy and French and want to get that going. LESKIDS. Two, you can email the show at heyotherparents@gmail.com. Keep it short, keep it weird, and we will most likely keep it for the show. We can't get to everyone, but we will keep those emails related for a close-by topic, and we do have a mailbag episode coming up soon. 3, join us on Instagram at heyotherparents, and we will try to keep you up to date on show info, polls, ridiculous AI images every day. If you have questionable parenting moments, please take a picture if it's appropriate. We might even keep it for our feed. All right, so we are back for Parenting Unplugged. Time to unplug. Don't forget that you'll be a better we if you take care of me. So, Mr. Levine, I hear it's not just dinosaur time. I hear it's was it kaiju? Not kaiju. What are they called? What are those big monsters called?
Kaijus, you're right. Yes, this week.
Oh, I am right. Okay, cool. I got nervous that I was talking about cute little animals.
Godzilla vs. Kong. Well, Godzilla X Kong, the sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong. The trailer dropped and it was epic. And this was a family. I know this is a family event. We had to watch it. I watched it many times with friends and colleagues because it was so cool, and you have to watch it because there's this new crazy Kong type guy. I don't even know what he is. It's like an orangutan, and Godzilla and Kong have to team up to take him down.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It's really cool. It's really cool.
I'd like to see King Kong and like sit around and make plans. Like, how do you think we should go about this? I don't know.
I'm slightly interested now. I might have to see this. I'm interested.
You got to see it, and it comes out in. I think it comes out in April on my birthday.
Ooh,
yeah. So I'll probably
a special birthday episode coming up.
Probably go see that.
Oh yeah.
And and it's the theaters or is it streaming?
It will be in theaters.
Ooh.
All right, sweet.
All the popcorn.
All right, Sarah D, what do we got?
Okay, so I've been following this TV series called Power. It's produced by 50 Cent, and it's just like it's gritty show, like drug dealings and things like that, like totally, because my life is like that. And so there's that series has ended, and there's now Raising Kanan. And it's so good because Patina Miller, she's an excellent lead. She's a Broadway actress. She does so many cool things. She is just I watch it, I think, just for her, because she's amazing. Her acting skills are awesome, and also too, like, it's like the 80s vibes right now, so you're definitely like looking at things and you're like, oh my god, I remember that style. Cool. And like that's really cool, and the music is awesome. But the storyline is really interesting. It's like nitty gritty if you're into that kind of stuff. But it's definitely a watch. It's on Stars, and it's something my husband and I, we've been obsessed with. And like there's been other like offshoots too, like different character roles that they kind of like developing more of the storylines. But I think this one is probably the best one because Kanan is a drug dealer in power, and we don't really know much about him other than he's like really powerful. So we're kind of seeing how he became who he is. And
that's cool.
It's a great show. We're on season 3, episode 3. Definitely it's a watch. I would watch it.
Can people jump in right to this show, or do they have to watch like other?
No,
should we watch season 1?
No, you don't like Raising Kanan. Like you should watch season 1, but like you don't need to know the power storyline in order to watch this one series. The other ones you might have to,
cool.
because they kind of based off on this. This one's totally like its own thing. It's so good.
The nice thing about like Stars and stuff like that is if you use like Amazon or like YouTube TV, whatever else, you could like subscribe for a month and then like drop it after you're like, know, because it's like a seasonal kind of thing,
Yeah, it is. It is.
Ooh, let's check it out. All right, guys. I've been talking about it. I've been holding it. It is here. So my friends, I'm not sure if you are aware out there, but sometimes when you're on the internet, you stumble across something magical. What's that you say? Oh, that is a wonderful little sound of the Otamatone. Now, let me tell you something. If I was just having kids, I would say that this would maybe not be appreciated from a gift from like, a family member to your kids because it's going to make a lot of noise. But when your kids are a little bit older, if you're looking for something that maybe grinds on your gears a little bit more than a recorder, there's this amazing Japanese instrument that's like a synthesizer meets guitar. Well, anyway, so there's this guy who makes like crazy music stuff, like all these weird little instruments and stuff. And this Otamatone is one of them. And what it is, it's like a synthesizer that it's like you can hold it easily in your hand as a strap. And you could use like one finger and play it almost like a guitar. And it's absolutely ridiculous. So Jacob found these like videos of like people playing these cover songs with this Otamatone thing. And he's like, I want one of these. And he wanted one for Hanukkah. And my wife and I were like, all right, I guess so. And then within the same breath, I was like, I think I should get one too. So now we both have them. They're absolutely insane. And they are so funny. I was trying to like just like show him how to play some stuff. He plays cello and stuff like that, but and plays piano. He's a pretty musical kid. But I was like trying to show him like, it's time to look at other music. So I tried to show him like the White Stripes. So we were playing like Seven Nation Army on it and stuff. It was ridiculous.
Awesome.
That's
so
awesome.
I'll have to I'm gonna have to post like I'll put a link in the show notes so you can see like some guy jamming out on it. But it's like they're about $60 on Amazon on a sale, and they're ridiculous. They throw a couple batteries in. And I would suggest that if you get one, they sell like a deluxe one. The deluxe is like the bigger size one. And they sell, I think it's called a Neo. The Neo is a smaller one, but they sell a lot of other versions of them. But I would say those two in particular, I would pay attention to, because what is beneficial about those two is that they have a headphone jack, which I don't know about you guys, but sometimes you just got to have the kids put the headphones on so they don't hear the drumming. Or even if I'm playing.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's fun. It's awesome. There's really not really much way to describe it, but what's most ridiculous about it is if you're familiar with guitar with like a wah wah pedal like Jimi Hendrix, like that wah wah wah. These things have a face on them.
Yeah, a squishy face.
So,
I love it.
Yeah, it looks like a little squishy face, right? Like hello. And what is cool about it is when you're playing it, you can kind of like. Let me just do. You can. That was really obnoxious, right?
I love it.
You can actually make like a wah wah sound by squeezing the face, which is ridiculous. Or you could play like. Let's see if I can do it.
No, we didn't hear it.
No, we didn't hear it.
Oh, you didn't hear it?
No.
Oh, well, you'll hear it in the recording. Isn't that sad? All right. Well, just in your minds, believe that I played the most amazing riff of Seven Nation Army that has ever been played in the history of Seven Nation Army.
I totally believe you. Okay, so you mentioned that there was a Kirby one, and it is absolutely adorable.
There is a curvy one. That's a deluxe one you could get too, which is the bigger one that has the headphone jack, which is the way to go.
Yes, and then there's a blue and white one that has like a little sassy.
Yeah, like they're basically all the
thing.
same as like within the size of them. Like it's like buying a car, I guess, right? So like all the Civics and all that, all the Accords, like they're all the same. So like if you buy a Deluxe, that's a bigger size one. If you buy like a Neo, it's a smaller size one. But they do sell the Neo and the Techno. This is where things get kind of wacky. Like if you're insane like I am, the Techno and the Neo, you could plug into like your phone with an app. And you could like tweak the sound. So there's like an electric guitar sound. You can do all the other things. So if you want to go really nutty, you can. But with the Deluxe and the Neo, if you feel inspired to really like blow the walls down, you could connect them to amplifiers. People have done that. Should you? Probably not, but you can.
There's a Goody Tama one that if you ever seen the show on Netflix
With like the face,
the
and
little egg. It's so sad.
Oh my
He's
God.
just kind of like living his life. I love him. Oh my God. Okay, I might have to get one of these.
Sarah D,
too as
I think
well.
what we need to do is we need to get like cases and we need to throw them on our backs. And I think we need to bring them to work with
Yes,
us.
and just rift.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Mike's like, don't leave me out of this.
We
This
will-
is not okay.
we'll be high
I
on
want
the
to be
list.
part of the gang.
You should be.
Yeah, man. If you buy a Techno, they come in two colors. They come in black and white. But if you want to buy that's like the ones plugged into the phone. If you want the ones that like you could just use like I would say if you're gonna go for one
baby
that's
one.
like bigger, like a bigger kid, go for like a bigger, like a larger adult or like the little baby ones. They do sell bigger ones. I would say that you probably want to get a Deluxe or a Techno because they're just bigger for your hands. If your kid's younger, like they're like I don't know, like they're maybe like in first grade, second or third grade, maybe you want to get the smaller ones. That's probably how I would generally say it might be done.
Pretty
but
cool.
Random, small, ridiculous, cute, and grinding on your ears. So it's a great gift for yourself or for somebody else. And always remember that give it to a child. If you don't live there, that's a good thing. Is for a nephew or niece, right? All right. On that note, I think we are out of time for the pets. Apparently, I have all kinds of pets except for actual animals. I have a face on an instrument. I have a sourdough starter, and I have a Roomba. But at some point, maybe. Well, no, let's not even go there. So I think we're out of time, and I think that's going to wrap up this episode of Doggos. I think Sarah maybe said it with Release the Hounds. That may be the name of the episode. We'd like to take a moment to thank our listeners, our tip jar supporters for donating to the show. If you want to help support this show to allow us to keep making episodes like this, we do have a tip jar set up and using Stripe, which is like, just like a money app, whatever. In our show notes, members will get access to a bonus episode each month. If you have time, we'd greatly appreciate you leaving us a review on the Apple Podcasting app or Spotify. Search for the show, scroll down for fine ratings and reviews, throw some stars, write some banter. We'd always appreciate it. It helps us find more listeners to listening to us talk about this parenting thing. We can't wait to explore this parenting thing again next week on Hey the Parents because it's the three of us and all of you. Don't forget to hug those kids and charge your Chromebooks and feed your dogs. That's going to do it for me, for Sarah, and for Mike. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey the Parents is produced by Mike Levine, Sarah Desirines, and me, Michael Height. I edit and mix our show. Our intro voice recording was done by the one and only Coltrane. If you like our show, we hope you will consider going to our show notes and supporting us through our Stripe tip jar and consider becoming a member. Doing so supports us and gives you access to an exclusive Hey the Parents episode each month. Find us online on Instagram at Hey the Parents or send us an email at heytheparents@gmail.com or a voicemail. Don't be bashful. Thank you for listening and we will see you next time.